one of the key things that people need to appreciate is this whole idea of illusory reality, and the fact that we live, as I put it, in an equivalent of a cosmic internet. And what I mean by that is this: I have a computer in front of me now, and if there was the wireless internet in this room, I would look around me and I couldn't see the wireless internet. I can just see the room. I can't see anything.
Yeah.
But I would, if I could put this computer on and tune it to that wireless internet, i.e. log on to the internet, and suddenly a whole collective reality, which is accessible by people anywhere in the world, virtually, apart from the firewalled areas like China, it comes on my screen. It's a whole collective reality. And when people talk about, well, if we create our own reality, how come we look out and we all see the same car going past and the same house across the road? It's because the basis of our reality is like the wireless internet. It's information which we're decoding, and we decode it into what is the equivalent of our computer screen, which goes on in the brain. This world that we think is outside of us, and of course, it constantly seems to be like that, actually only exists inside the brain in the form that we're experiencing it. And so we are like the computer on the desktop, decoding this cosmic internet, and then we are deciding, as we do with the internet we have, what websites are we going to go to? In other words, where am I going to go in my life? What interests am I going to have? What do I make of this website? What do I think of this situation? What do I not think of this situation? And that's where we put our unique spin on it. We have different opinions and different views, but the base reality is there all the time, the background reality, just like the World Wide Web. Now this reality, I would suggest, this is what I'm saying in the book, goes through a cycle, and it's a vibrational cycle. And as this vibrational cycle goes through, it changes the information that we're receiving, that base background information. And because it's going in a cycle, it seems you can symbolize it, if you like, as a loop. I mean, there are, people that I've talked about. I've had a book about that name too, called The Time Loop. It's like a time loop. It goes around through a cycle and then comes back, not necessarily exactly to the start, but pretty much. And this is where you see in the ancient world all these legends and accounts about the circular nature of time. In Asia and the Indian culture, they have the yugas. The Mayans talked about the circular nature of time. And what I'm saying is that this cycle, which in our version of time, which is an allusion to, goes over a vast period, goes through different cycles. Some cycles are really expansive, where consciousness is expanding and awareness expands, and then other parts of the cycle, it's more challenging, it's more about limitation, it's more about suppression and experiencing that part of the cycle. And there comes a point, obviously, as you go around, where one part of this cycle is replaced by another. One yuga is replaced by another. And when I first had my mind-opening, mind-blowing experiences in 1990 and that period, one of the first things I kind of started to learn by a sequence of synchronistic events and experiences, shall we say, was that there was a new cycle coming, because there was a vibrational change coming that was going to wake people up from their amnesia. It was going to have the effect also of bringing to the surface all that had remained hidden up to this point, so we could see what we've not been able to see going on in the world up to that time. Now, in 1990, Tim, there was absolutely no evidence whatsoever of any awakening of consciousness. There was certainly no evidence that all this hidden stuff was coming to the surface. But it was so strong in my life and so strong in the synchronicity of my life, and it was coming to me, that the first book I wrote after my head blew off, it's actually called Truth Vibrations, and it was called Truth Vibrations after this vibrational change that I was learning about. Now, 20 years later, let's look at it again. Look what's happened in terms of people awakening to a new sense of self in the world. And my goodness, look what's happened in terms of what's been hidden to us coming to the surface. Yeah. I mean, look what we know now we didn't know 5 years ago, 3 years ago, never mind 15 and 20. And so what we're looking at, I would suggest, is living through a period where we're on the cusp, where one period, one yuga, for want of a term, one period of this cycle is which is based on suppression and limitation, and what people might call a dark period. And we're moving out of that into a period which will be about a massive expansion of consciousness and awareness and understanding and perception of self in the world, seeing the unity of everything rather than seeing everything as divided and apart from everything else. But of course there's a point where the two are basically existing together. There's going to come a tipping point where the new epoch, the new energy, will become the dominant one. Now that's not too many years ago away, I would suggest. But at the moment, we're still in a period where, up to this point, the previous Yuga energy is still dominant, though losing its dominance with everyone that starts to wake up and perceive life in a different way. And so people, and I completely understand this, look at what's happening in the world now, and I'm kind of monitoring it and tracking it and everything on my website every day, where the control system, it seems to be getting more and more power and all the rest of it in so many areas and pushing itself on. What I'm saying in the book, and I'm saying here, is that we can read that another way. And that is that we are in the process of seeing the control system's death throes, where it's throwing everything it can at us like a cornered rat to try to hold on to a power structure which is in its dying days. You see, these people, they can see down our timeline. They can see things to a certain extent further along the timeline than we can. They have known for a considerable amount of time that this energetic change, this awakening was coming. And what they've been planning for, and that's why it's at this time of all times when the control system is throwing everything at us, that this awakening is happening. That's not a coincidence. Those two things are completely connected, because the control system is trying to batten down the hatches and hold the dike against this vibrational change. And of course it's whistling in the dark, because of course you can't stop this energetic change. It's going to happen, but it's trying to, and for the next few years it's going to seem as if the control system is going to prevail, and then the whole thing's going to come down, because we're going to reach the point where this new energy, these truth vibrations, the energy of expansion and of the new epoch is going to become the dominant one. And I think we're seeing some signs of that all the time. Well, I am anyway, as I see people wake up who I thought would never wake up in this lifetime. And so we are at a very amazing time where we are living through this epoch change. And the more that we stop cooperating with the system and stop acquiescing with it, the less extreme it will be before it actually comes down, because it is coming down. But
shine.